All right, so hello everyone. So this paper is the January 2023 paper, and I'm going to be going through hopefully all the questions if we have time. Your exam is coming up very soon, so I want to ensure that I touch on some of these multiple choice questions for you. All right, so of course, there are certain things that you need to know about the multiple choice paper. The first thing is that no calculators are allowed. So you cannot take any calculator in the exam. That's the first thing. Secondly, it has 60 questions. You have 90 minutes. That's 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete the entire paper. So it means you have just about 1.5 minutes per question. Of course, some questions you're gonna spend less than the 1.5 minutes, and some you might spend more than the 1.5 minutes, but you want to ensure that you complete all 60 questions in the allotted time. All right, so let's jump to our question. So our first question, it says, what is the value of the digit 2 in the number 48.621? So there are certain things that we need to know right here. So let's go. So this is our decimal point, as we can see. The first digit to the right, hold on, let me clear this. Right, the first digit, let me clear this. Good. Okay, so the first digit to the right of the decimal point, that's this digit, that is in the 10th position. So we can say 1 over 10. The second digit is going to be in the 100th position. So this 1 over 100. I haven't used Zoom in a while, so it's going to take me a little while to get used to typing these things. All right. And as we continue to the right, the next one will be 1 over 1,000 and so on. So let's look at the individual digits. So the first digit is 6. So we can say that this digit, the value of it is 6 over 10. The second digit, the value of it is 2 over 100. And the third digit would be 1 over 1,000. So of course, this is our second digit. They're asking us the value of the 2. So the 2 is going to be 2 over 100. So that's going to be A for our answer. So the answer for the first one is, of course, A. Let's move to the second question. Hopefully we all understand that one. So let's scroll down to the second question, question number 2. All right. Good. So it says, what percentage of 50 is 10? What percentage of 50 is 10? So let us look at it this way. There are many ways to do this question. How many tens can we get from 50? We can get 5 tens. And remember, percentage is out of 100. So let us look at our second answer. And I'm jumping straight to the answer, and I'm going to explain to you why this is the answer. So how many 20% can we get from 100? We can get 5 of that. If you look back at the question, how many 10 can we get from 50? It's 5. So if you look at these two, they actually match up. All right. So 50 divided by 10 is 5, and 100 divided by 20 is 5. So it means 20% of 50 is equal to 10. There are other ways of working this out. Let's just prove our answer. So this is 20 over 100. So we're trying to prove that 20% off. And I'm not writing nice right here. 20% of 50, we're trying to find that to see if we actually got the 10 for it. So this could be 50 over 1. So we know when we are multiplying fractions, we can cancel zeros in the numerator and denominator. So we can cancel this 0 with this one, and we can cancel this 0 with this one. So we're left with 2 times 5 is 10. So actually 20% of 50 is equal to 10. And again, there are many ways of doing this question, many ways. All right, so let's jump to question number 3. So question number 3 says, in standard notation, 0.02086 is written as Now, the first thing that we need to remember is that for standard form, our aim is to get the decimal point to the right of the first non-zero digit. And the first non-zero digit right here is 2. So we know our answer must start with 2 point. So let's look at what we have. So this one, A and C, starts with 2 point. So let us see which one is going to be my actual answer. So this is where the decimal point is now, right between the 2 and the 0. So how many places did I move from the original position? 1, 2. And because we are counting to the right, the power is going to be negative. So if you look at these two, A and C, they are very similar, but the power is what makes it different. So this one is actually 2.0806 times 10 to the negative 2, which is our answer for this one. Another way to remember this, of course, this number starts with, so this number is actually less than 1, so it's 0 point something. Once it is 0 point something, if you're going to write that in standard form, your power is going to be a negative power. And that's the answer for the third one. Let's jump to the fourth one. It says, in a school, the ratio of the number of pupils to the number of teachers is 20 to 1. So for every 20 pupils, you're going to have 1 teacher. So at any point in time, you should have more pupil than teacher. It says if the number of pupils is 840, how many teachers are there? So what we can do is that we can divide the 840 by the 20 to find the number of teachers. So we're trying to find how many 20 we can get. So we divide by 20. So when dividing by 20, we can cancel these 2 zeros, and 2 can go into 84 how many times? So 2 into 80, that's 40, and 2 into 4, that's 2. So 2 into 84, that's 42. So our answer is going to be B for this one. All right, so let's go to question number 5. So we jump into question number 5. Question number 5, it's also a set question. Well, it's a set question. Now it says a bag of apples can be shared equally among either 6 children, 10 or 15 children. So it can be shared equally among 6, 10 or 15. So if it's 6 of them, all 6 of them must get the same amount. If it's 10, all 10 must get the same amount. And if it's 15, all 15 must get the same amount. It says the minimum number of apples that is likely to be in the bag is, now what they're actually asking you for right here is the lowest common multiple. So they want the lowest number that 6, 10, and 15 can go into. So let's start with the first one. Can 6 go into 30? Yes, 6 can go into 35 times. So if you are sharing 30 marbles, sorry, not 30 marbles, we're talking about apples, 30 apples among 6 people, it means each of them will get 5 because 5, 6 is 30. Check the next one, 10 can go into 30 and 15 can also go into 30. So we don't need to go any further. So the LCM, the lowest common multiple of 6, 10, and 15 is A. So whenever you see this question about sharing equally among maybe 6, 10, or 15, they're asking for the LCM. And we know the LCM is 30 right here. So we're going to jump to question number 6, which should be a set question as well. So we're going back up. Oh, it's not a set question. So let's see. And this question tend to come on the paper very often. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this question. So let's start off with a way that I think most persons might not see. So let's look at this right here. So it says if 4.3 times 0.37 is equal to 1.591. So let us note what we have right here. You are multiplying a number with 1 decimal by a number with 2 decimals. So in all, we have 3 decimals. So notice that our answer has 3 decimals, right? So you're multiplying a number with 1 decimal by a number with 2 decimals. So in all, you'll have a number with 3 decimals. So let's look at this. It says then 43 multiplied by 0.37 is, So you're multiplying a number right here that has 0 decimal by a number that has 2 decimals. So when you multiply the two of them, well, when you look at the two numbers, the total decimals is actually 2. So you're going to look for an answer that has 2 decimals. And immediately I see that this one, B, is the answer. But another way to do it, very simple way, I'm just going to show you how to multiply decimals. What you can do when you're multiplying decimals, you can turn the decimal number into a whole number. So this is the 43. Instead of writing 0.37, we can just turn this to 37. All right, so we're just going to turn that to 37 and multiply that. Now, when you multiply that, which everybody should be able to do, and I'll just write the answer because we should be able to multiply that, we'll get 1,500 and that's 5. That's a ugly looking 5. And 91. So I'm still struggling, having to use Zoom in a while. So that's what you get, 1,591. But remember, we took out 2 decimals right here and turn it to 37. So we have to put in back those decimals, those 2 decimals. So when I put in back the 2 decimals, my decimal point will come right here. So my answer is actually 15.91, which is B, as we said before. All right, so we are going to jump to question 7. And when you're watching this video, what you can do is that you can actually work the questions before, and then you match up your answer with the answer that I'm getting. Now it says, which of the following sets is defined by? Now let me not jump into anything technical. Let me just explain to you what this is saying. This is saying that x is greater than or equal to -2. So the fact that the sign opens up to the x, we're saying x is greater than or equal to -2. So let me just do a number line quickly to show you what I'm talking about. So for the number line, this is 0. Let's go negative side. So this is -1. This is -2. Not drawing so nice, but I'm taking my time. And this is -3. I would go to the positive side. So the positive side has 1, has 2, and I'll stop at 4, 3. So I'm trying to stop at the 2 end digits that we're seeing, the 2 end numbers. So we're seeing -2. Well, I went 1 beyond -2 to -3. So let's see what this is saying. It is saying x is greater than or equal to. So if it is equal to, it means they're going to include the -2. If we didn't have the equal to right here, the line below the sign, it would mean x is just greater than. So x wouldn't be -2, x would start at -1 because greater than goes to the right. But it also says that x should be what? Less than. So it is not pointing, it's not opening up to the x now, it is pointing to the x. So we say x is less than or equal to 4. So if x is less than or equal to 4, it means x can be 4. So x ranges from -2 all the way up to 4. So we're going to include all these numbers. If this had said x is less than 4, so you didn't have the equal to below it, the line below it, would stop at 3. So it means my answer is going to be D because it starts from -2 and it goes all the way up to 4. And D is my answer for that one. So you're going to see back questions, maybe not the same question, but you can see questions similar to these on your exam coming up in early June. All right, so we're going to jump to question number 8, which is a set question. So let's get into it. All right, it says item 8, which is this item, refers to the following diagram. The following Venn diagram, sorry, which shows 2 intersecting sets. So we have P and we have Q. It says in the Venn diagram, the number of elements in P is 5. So what they're saying is that all the elements in P, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe some could be in the intersection as well, but let me just put 5. And it also says the number of elements in Q is 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, what I'm doing right here is not 100% correct because some of this 9 will actually be right here in the intersection, but it says, and the number of elements in P union Q, and union Q means the elements that are in P and Q together. So they're saying all the elements together is 10. So when you count all the elements in the two circles, you should get 10. But when you count right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you're getting 14. What they are saying it should be 10, which means of that 14, 4 of them is going to fall in the middle. So 4 of them will be common between the two sets, right? It says the number of elements in the shaded region of the Venn diagram is 4. So it means 4 of them is going to be common because remember, it says the total number of elements that should be in P union Q is 10. But when you add up the 9 and the 5, you get 14. So that difference, that extra should be in the middle, the shaded region, what is common between the two sets. And that's question number 8. Very simple. So we go to question number 9. So let's scroll down to question number 9, which is also a set question. And generally when they set the paper, you'll find sets just about this part of the paper. So you'll see sets and a little bit of consumer arithmetic, your percentage and so on, until we get to about question number 20. Now it says, which of the following pairs of sets is an example of a disjoint set? Now the first thing we should note is a disjoint set is one that has nothing in common. So let's talk about the first one. So it says set E, and I'll just type, these are basically even numbers. So if we know even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on, right? And it says F would be odd numbers. So F would be odd numbers. And if you know odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. So if you should list all the even numbers and all the odd numbers, would you have any element common? That's a resounding no. So if you should put this in a Venn diagram, it means this would be a disjoint set. You wouldn't have anything overlapping. So nothing that will be in E, you will find in F. So it means the first one is your answer because even numbers and odd numbers, they are disjoint. So the answer is A. Now, if you look at P, multiples of 2, you know, that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Multiples of 3 would be 3, 6, 9, 12. So already we're finding some things common. So this would be a joint set, wouldn't be a disjoint set. And if we do the same thing for the others, you'll realize that A is the only disjoint set of all. So let's jump to question 10. And so question 10, again, is a set question. So we're seeing the set questions coming out. It says, all students in a class play Scrabble or checkers or both. So all of them participate in either in Scrabble, in checkers, or both. So let me just draw a quick Venn diagram to show. Now you realize it says both. So once you see both, it means there's some form of overlapping. So we can call the first one, let's call this Scrabble and this checkers. And of course, the shaded region would represent both. It says, so where are we now? It says if 36% of the students play Scrabble only. So this 36% would be right here, only. So it's not a part of this part. It also says that 16% of the students play both, which is right here, right? It says what percentage of students play checkers, which is this, but not Scrabble. So checkers, but not Scrabble, would be checkers only. Now percentage is marked, as we know, out of 100. So if 36 plus 16 is 52, what percentage is left for this part to take it up to 100? So that would be 48. And we have to be sharp on these things because the calculators are not allowed. So it means my answer is going to be B. So 36 plus 16, that gives me 52, and 52 from 100 gives you 48. So it will be 48%. Right, I will jump into question 11. Let's see if it's another set question. It is. Let's go get the entire question. Good. Now it says item 11, that's question number 11, refers to the following Venn diagram, which shows two intersecting sets, H and V. So the number of students in each set is indicated. So let me just explain to you what this is saying right here. This is saying, of course, H is representing students who play hockey, and V is representing those who play volleyball, as we can see. So this 5 is saying those who play hockey only. And this 4 is saying those who play volleyball only. This 2 is saying those who play both hockey and volleyball. While this little 3 out here, those who play neither hockey nor volleyball. It says how many students play either hockey or volleyball, but not both. So this 5 play either volleyball or hockey, and this 4 play either volleyball or hockey. Now, this 2, we cannot include this 2 because it says but not both. And of course, this 3 here doesn't play anything. So it means the total number of students will be 5 plus 4, which is equal to 9. So question 11 is 9 for our answer. All right, so let's jump over to the next question. And the next question is question number 12. Let's see what it is all about. Oh, so now we are moving from, well, it's still a set question. Maybe a simpler set question. Now it says, the set of two-digit positive integers that are divisible by 7 is an example of what? Now, let's talk about this. Can we count the number of two-digit positive integers that are divisible by 7? Yes. We can count them. Once you can count them, it means it's a finite set. For example, the number of students in a class would be a finite set because you can count them. Once you can count them, it's a finite set. Now, to give you an example that is not a finite set would be, for example, even numbers greater than 10. So even numbers greater than 10, you can have 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and it will never stop. It goes up. That's an infinite set. So it means my answer right here will be a finite set. So we're not going to even look at improper set or an empty set, so because our answer is, of course, D. We know what an empty set is. We know what it means when something is empty. Nothing is empty. So we're going to question number 13. So now we're going to be jumping to some questions that has to do with consumer arithmetic. It says for every $100 sales or part thereof, very, very important. For every $100 sale or part thereof, a salesman is paid $10 as commission. If his sales for a particular month were $1,020, how much commission was he paid? Now let's go. Let's go back to the question, because whenever you see consumer arithmetic question, you want to ensure that you read it carefully. It says for every $100 sale. So if the sale is 1,020, we need to find out how many $100 sale can come from 1,020. So this is 1,020 because it says for every $100 sale. So how many $100 sale can we get from this? We can divide that by 100 to find how many $100 sale. So when you divide this by 100, you know, when you divide by 100, you can actually move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left. 1, 2. So this is actually 10.2. So we can get 10.2 $100 sale. So the question says for every $100 sale, you are paid, a salesman is paid $10. So what we are going to do right now is that we're going to multiply this by 10 to find out how much in all the person will get, the salesman will get as commission. So we're going to multiply 10.2 by 10. Now, just to give you a shortcut, if you want to multiply a decimal by 10, just move the decimal to the right. So the opposite is the opposite of division. When you are dividing, you move the decimal to the left. If I was dividing by 10, I would move it to one place. If I'm dividing by 100, I move it 2 places. If I'm multiplying by 10, I move it 1 place to the right. If I'm multiplying by 100, I move it 2 places to the right. So I would drop a 0 to hold the place right here. So if I'm multiplying 10.2 by 10, this becomes 102. So it means the salesman will get $102 as commission. So these are the sort of questions that tend to throw off students. You have to read the questions carefully more than once. Ensure that you fully understand the question before you jump and circle anything. Give yourself a chance by reading the question. Try to get that full understanding of the question. All right, so we're going to jump to question number 14, which is simple interest. Now, it says the simple interest on $600 for T years, so we don't know the time, at 5% per annum is $120. The value of T is. Now, what's the general formula we use to find simple interest? Let's just write that first. Simple interest, right, is equal to, and persistent to write it differently, but it means the same. So it's the principal amount, which is P. In this case, that is 600. That's the amount of money you invest or you borrow, times the rate, which is of course 5%, times the time, which is always in years, over 100. That's a general formula. So if you're trying to calculate simple interest, this is the way you calculate it. So you would substitute the values and find the simple interest, that extra money. But what CXC can do is that they can ask you to find the principal amount, the rate, or the time. So if you want to find the principal amount, there's a very short way to remember it. So you're going to take this 100, it's 100 times the simple interest, times the simple interest, let's call it SI, over the other two. What are the other two? Rate and time. R times T. If you want to find, and I'll just jump to the time in the interest of time. If I want to find time, it's the same 100 SI at the top. So it's 100 times the simple interest. 100 times the simple interest, SI. So I don't need to write that multiplication sign, but it's okay to write it. Let me just put it there. See that the question has it there, the answers, over the other two. So if you're finding time, it's over principal amount times the rate, PR. PR. So let's go now. The question is asking for the value of T. So before I get to that, if I wanted to find the rate, it's the same 100 SI over the other two. So it's always 100 times the simple interest over the other two. So if you're finding P, the other two would be RT, R and T. If you're finding T, the other two would be P and R, and so on. So this is the formula we use to find time. So let's look at it. It says 100 times the simple interest. What's the simple interest? It says the simple interest on $600 for T years at 5% per annum is 120. So it means I'm going to replace the simple interest with 120. Over the principal amount is 600 and the rate is 5. So I'm looking at this as B is my to be my answer. So it's 100 times the simple interest, which is 120, over the principal amount 600 multiplied by the 5%. So this question that did not work out the question, work out the question to get your answer. They actually write the answer, but not simplified. So we just substitute the value, but we're not simplifying it. So the answer for this one is B. All right, so as you can see, we're basically moving along and we're just at question number 14, even though we have to be doing some explanation. And you can repeat this video, you can rewind it, fast forward. If you don't fully understand anything, that's the beauty of technology. Let's jump to question 15. And question 15, it talks about foreign exchange. It says at a bank, Eastern Caribbean dollars, $2.60. So $2.60 Eastern Caribbean dollars is equivalent to 1 US. So let me just write that properly. So $2.60, and I'm struggling to write with this thing, but I'm getting there, is equal to 1 US. So over here is EC, and the other side is going to be US. Oh, that's not looking good at all. Anyways, so that's the exchange rate, right? It says for every 1 US dollar exchange, EC 10 cents is deducted as an exchange tax. So that must happen. It says how many EC dollars will Leon receive if he exchange US $1,000? So the first thing we can do, I'm going to convert the US, the 1,000 US to EC. So I'm going to just put 1,000 right here. We know we're going to be multiplying by the $2.60. So this is the unitary method. So $2.60 equal to 1 US. So 1,000 US equal to how many EC? So we're going to find how many EC first. So we can multiply X times 1. We cross multiplying is X. And this should be X equal $2.60 multiplied by 1,000. So remember I said earlier, if you're multiplying by 1,000, you can move the decimal point 3 places to the right. So it's 1, 2, 3. So we'll have to add another 0 to that. So it's 2, 6, and 2 zeros. So remember, we're not using any calculator. Right? So if you look right here, we have that in your answer, but that is not actually the answer. You have to be extremely careful, because let us look at this part. It says for every 1 US dollar exchange, right? EC 10 cents is deducted. So if you look at this right here, we need to find out how many 10 cents are deducted. So if you look at this, it's 1,000 US exchange. So for each of these 1,000 US, right, they are going to deduct 10 cents. So let's find out how much in all they'll deduct. So we can multiply the 1,000 by the 10 cents, right? So the 1,000, we can multiply that, and let me type this. Go a little bit faster. So we can multiply the 1,000 by the 10 cents, 0 0.10. And when you multiply the 1,000 by the 10 cents, you're actually moving the decimal point 1 place to the left, right? So you know you could just change this to 10. I showed you that a little while, and multiply the 10 by the 1,000. Then you move the decimal point back 2 spaces and so on. So, I mean, we'll know what to do. All right. Or you can actually work this out. For those who can multiply a number by a decimal, you know what to do. But I'm just giving a short way. We can just move the decimal 1 place to the left. So when you multiply 1,000 by 0.10, you will get 100. All right. You're multiplying by 0.10, you get 100. So it means, let me just write this. It means for tax, you'll have to pay 1,000. So they're going to charge you 1,000. for exchange tax. Sorry, not 1,100, sorry. All right, so when you multiply 1,000 by this 0.10, get 100. So let's go back now. When you change the 1,000, you get 2,600, but after 2,600, you'll be paying $100 tax. So it means the answer is not 2,600, it's going to be 2,600 minus the tax, which is going to be 2,500. It's a very, very tricky question if you're not careful. Moving along. So let me just erase these and get to our next question, question number 16. Let's see what it says. All right, it says a calculator which is marked at $120 is sold for cash at 30% discount. How much change would Susan receive if she pays for the calculator with a $100 bill? Now, let me just give you a simple way to do this. Whenever you're asked to find percentage, which is a multiple of 10, so for example, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, and so on, there's a simple way of doing that. So if we should find 10% of 12, remember when you're finding 10% of a number, you can just move the decimal point one place to the left. So 10% is equal to 12. So 10% of 120 equal to 12. But it says 30%. So we can just multiply this 10 by 3 to get 30%, and we multiply this 12 by 3 to get 36. So 3, 12, 36. So we know 30% of 120 is going to be 36. If it was 40%, it would be 4 times 12, which is 48. If it was 20%, it would be 2 times 12, because 20% is 2 times 10%. All right? So a calculator which is marked at 120 is sold for cash at a discount, or at a 30% discount. How much change would Susan receive if she pays for the calculator with a $100 bill? So Susan is no longer going to pay 120. Susan is going to pay 120 minus the 30%, which is say 3 times 12 is 36. So 120 minus 36 is going to be 84. So 120, and I'm trying to write this, minus 36. And we just do it for you to show you what you can do. So we're going old school, borrow 1 from this, leave 1, and we put it right here. So 6, we're taking away that from 10, you're left with 4. 3 can come from 1, so we can take 1 from this, leave 0. But we put this 1 over here. 3 from 11 is 8. So Susan will spend $84. But it says how much change. So Susan will get back 100 minus 84, which is equal to $16. So Susan will get back $16 as change. All right, and that's question number 16. We jump into question number 17. So let's see if we can scroll down to question number 17. Where are we now? Oh, I'm going in the opposite direction. Question number 17. All right. Good. So it says a man pays 60 cents. And remember, 60 cents means 0.60. So we should know that. So 60 cents, let me type that. So we can say 60 cents is 0.60 or 0.6. So bear that in mind. So a man pays 60 cents for every 200 cubic meter of gas used, plus a fixed charge. If he pays $178.75 when he uses 55,000 cubic meter of gas, how much is the fixed charge? All right, so let us see if we can find out how much is the amount before the fixed charge. Because what we're given right here, the $178.75 is the amount the man will pay inclusive of the fixed charge. So let's find out the amount he will pay before the fixed charge. So what we can do first is to find out how many 200 cubic meter we can get from this 55,000. because he's going to be paying 60 cents for every 200 meter cube. So we need to find out how many of them we have there. So we can divide. So let me type. So we can say 55,000 divided by, let me just put the slash. Let me not write it like that. Write it so you guys get it. 55,000 divided by 200. I can just type this below. 200. Good. So let's cancel zeros. So we know that we can cancel these two zeros and these two zeros. So we're left with 2 into 550. Now 2 can go into 500, 250 times, right? And 2 can go into the 50, how many times? 25 times. So in all, this will give me 250 plus 225 equal 275. So it means we can get 200 cubic meter from 55,000 cubic meter 275 times. So it means 275 times is the number of times the person is going to pay 60 cents. So we can multiply this 275 by 60 cents, which is 0.6, or we can just use 6, multiply by 6, and then add back that decimal. So we're just going to multiply by 6. So we can over the decimal place once. Once I multiply, I'll take back that one decimal from my answer. So this right here, of course, calculators are not allowed. So let's go. So we say 6 times 5 is 30. 0 carry 3. So 6 times 7 is 42, plus 3, 45. So that's 5, carry the 4. Struggling to write here. And 6 times 2, 12, plus 4, that's 16. So it's 1,650, but because we multiply by 6, and it says 0.6, I'm just going to take back this decimal point off. So it means when I multiply the 275 by the 0.60, I'll get 165. So it means the person or the man will pay $165 before that fixed charge. Then it says if he pays $178.75, so this is inclusive of the fixed charge now. The question is asking how much is the fixed charge? So if the original charge is 165 and the total charge is 178.75, then how do I find that extra that will go on the 165 to make it 178.75? Of course, we're going to be subtracting. So we're going to subtract 165 from 178.75. This is ugly. All right. So when you subtract this, the 178.75 from 165, well, the other way around, 165 from the 178.75, you get 13.75 for your answer. All right? So 165 plus 13 is going to give a 178, and then the 0.75 takes it up to 13.75 or 178.75. So the answer is actually A. And if you look at this, they have D there as well. So a number of persons would select D for their answer and they would get it wrong. All right, so we're going on fine. I'm only struggling to type with this thing. I'm not so familiar with Zoom. I haven't really used it to these sort of things. Yes, Google Meet is what most of us are used to. And I myself, I'm not still 100% with that as well. Now, question number 18. And there are some questions that, will move up much faster. So these are actually taking some time, but some of them, they're very, very simple. We're going to be moving much faster. It says a plot of land presently valued at $12,000. It appreciates in value at the rate of 2.5% per annum. What will be the value of the plot of land 1 year later? Now, what we can do is that we can find 2.5% of this 12,000. So let me see if I can type this. So this will be 2.5 divided by 100. So it's 2.5%, nothing actually changes, the same. You divide the percentage by 100, right? And we multiply that by the 12,000. So what we're trying to find right here is the amount it will appreciate by. It will go up. So remember, when something appreciates, the value increases. When it depreciates, of course, it's the opposite. The value will go down. So we can actually put this over 1, which is not necessary. So we can cancel these 2 zeros with these 2 zeros. And now we're going to be multiplying 2.5 by 120. So don't be scared when you see a decimal multiplying by a whole number. You can simply change the decimal to a fraction. Then in your answer, you put back the decimal. So we can actually have 120. All right. Multiply by 25. So those who can multiply by the 2.5, that's fine. But I'm trying to cater to those who don't really know what to do. So I'm just going to take out the decimal. So this is one simple way. Once you're multiplying by a decimal, just change it to a whole number. So we know 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. So 0 carry the 1. And 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1, 6. So because we're going to multiply by 2 now, we know we're not supposed to have anything here. So 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 1, that's 2. And now we have, so this is 0, 0. 6 plus 4, that's 10. So 0 carry the 1. And 2 plus 1, that's 3. So it means when you multiply the 2.5, are we going to find 2.5% of 1,200. So this is not the final answer. Remember, we multiply by 25. So we have to now put in back that 1 decimal to make it 2.5. So when I put in back the 1 decimal in my answer, it's no longer 3,000, it's going to be 300. So it means the value of the land will go up by $300 after 1 year. So a plot of land presently valued at 12,000 appreciates in a value at the rate of 2.5% per annum. So this 2.5% is actually $300 for the first year. What will be the value of the plot of land after 1 year or 1 year later? So the land will no longer value $12,000. It's going to value 12,000 plus the 300, which takes us to $12,300. All right, so that's that. All right, and we jump into question number 19. So the questions will get simpler. For me, these questions, the first part of the paper, well, not necessarily the entire first part, but in the teens, once you get to the teens, then some of the questions will be a little bit more technical. But once we pass those, then we should be fine. Now, a loan of $8,000 was paid back in 2 years in monthly payments. So once it's in monthly payments, you start thinking that 2 years will have how many months? 24 months. The interest on the loan as a percentage was what? So that's what they want to find. So first we need to find out how much is paid back after the 2 years or the 24 months. So each month you're paying $400 for 24 months. That's 2 years. So we can multiply the 400 by 24. Not by 2, but by 24. Because there are 24 months in 2 years. And when you multiply this, I mean, we all should multiply this, but let's just check it. You all should be able to multiply this. So 4 times naught is naught. 4 times naught is naught. and 4 is 16. Then 2 times naught is naught. So remember to start in this row. 2 times naught is naught. And 2 4 is 8. So it means we'll get 0, 0, 6, 9. So that's 9,600. That's the amount that will be paid on the loan for 2 years. But it says calculate the interest. Now remember, interest means the extra money. So if the loan was 8,000 and you're now paying 9,600, it means we can find the extra money by subtracting the loan from the total that you're paying, which is 8,000. So if you subtract the 8,000 from the 9,600, let's see what we'll get. 8,000. So 0, 0, 6, 1. So the extra money is 1,600, but the question is saying the interest on the loan as a percentage is what? So let's go the interest, 1,600 on the loan. What's the loan? 8,000. So basically, literally, it means this interest over the loan, on the loan. And once you find in percentage, we can multiply by 100 as we know. All right, and we can now cancel 0. So these 2 0 cancel these 2 zeros. And this one can cancel 1 up here. So 8 can go into itself 1 time, and 8 can go into 16 2 times. So we're left with 2 and a 0, which gives us 20. So it means the percentage is actually 20. So it's 20% for question number 19. You can pause the video as you like, but we are moving along in the interest of time. All right. I jump to question 20 now. So the questions will get a little bit easier, as I mentioned. All right, let's see what this one is all about. So this might be the last question that talks about percentage. It says an article bought for $125 was sold for $175. The profit as a percentage of the cost price was, now first thing it says the article bought for this, 125 was sold for 175. So if you purchase something for 125 and you sold it for 175, it means you made a profit of $50. Now, you have to be careful. It says the profit as a percentage. So this is the profit as a percentage of the what? Cost price. And the cost price was what? 125. So we're trying to find that percentage. So we're going to multiply by 100 again. 100. All right. So let's see if we can multiply this. We can use 5. All right, let's use 5. So 5 can go into 100, that's 20 times. And 5 can go into 25, that's 5 times. So 5 into 125 is 25. And 5 into 50, that's 10. So I'm just canceling down. Let's go again. 25 can go into itself 1 time. And 25 can go into 100, that's 4 times. So all we're left with is 10 multiplied by 4, which is equal to 40. So it means the profit as a percentage is 40. So it's 40% for question number 20. And we should get to some more, not challenging questions, some questions that we should be able to do in less than a minute and a half. There you go. So these are very, very simple. It says the product of a number 2p over 3 and its reciprocal. Now reciprocal means you are going to invert, flip. So the reciprocal of 2p over 3 is 3 over 2p. Don't change the sign, it's just the same thing. So it says the product. So once you are finding the product of something, you are multiplying. So looking at this, my answer has to be C, because 2p over 3 times 3 over 2p is what this is saying, because the reciprocal of 2p over 3 is 3 over 2p. And that's the answer for that one. Let's go to item number 22. All right. And again, questions are getting easier for me. Well, I think. Now, this is a rectangle. Yes. It says the area of a rectangle in centimeters square is x squared. The equation that may be used to find the value of x is, now, how do you find area of a rectangle? It's length multiplied by width. So it's going to be the 2 multiplied by x minus 4. So we can write this as, let me type it. We can write it as 2 multiplied by, so we can use a bracket, x minus 4. And they did say that the area is equal to x squared. That's what they said. This is x squared. Now, which one of these looks similar to this? If you look at A, it's saying the same thing. It's just that they have the x squared on the right-hand side. So x squared, which is the area, equal the length 2 times the width, x minus 4. So the answer for this one is actually A. All right, so it's just this multiplied by this equal to the x squared, or x squared equal to this multiplied by this. And we move along. All right, so let me erase this part as well. So we jump to question number 23. This question tends to repeat. It says, Altia normally saves X dollars each month, but in June, she saved $4 more than twice her usual amount. So her usual amount was X, and twice her usual amount is actually 2X. If it had said 3 times her usual amount, it would be 3X. But let's look at it. It says $4 more. So $4 more than twice. So it's plus the $4. When you say more, you're adding $4. If it was less, you'll be subtracting $4. So which one is saying the same thing? It's going to be D. And you have to be careful with C, because C is actually not saying this. If you should use the distributive law to expand this bracket, 2 times x is 2x, but 2 times 4 is 8. So it will be different from this. So you have to be careful with that one. All right, we're getting there. So let's jump to question 24. All right, so question 24, it's an equation. It says 3 plus x over 2 equal to 1, the value of x. So we can say x over 2 plus x over 2 equal to 1. And we carry over that 3, it becomes minus 3. And 1 minus 3, we know that is negative 2. So we can say x over 2 equal to 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So once we see our fraction, we can actually just change this to negative 2 over 1 and cross multiply. So x times 1 is x. That's we're multiplying this way. And then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So negative 4 is going to be my answer for this one. So it means x is negative 4, which is B. All right. Moving along now faster, as you can see. Question number 25. So let's see what it says. It says 5 raised to the n plus 1 times 5 raised to the n plus 2 is the same as. Now, when you're multiplying terms with the same base, we can just add the powers. So the first one has a power of n plus 1. And the second one has a power of n plus 2. N plus 2. So again, when you're multiplying terms with the same base, so the base, they are the same 5 and 5, we just add the powers. So n plus 1 plus n plus 2. So n plus n is 2n. So this gives me 5 raised to the 2n. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So my answer is 5 raised to the 2n plus 3, which is B for my answer. Right, and we can now jump to the next question, which is question number 26. Right, so binary substitution here. So it says if A asterisk B equal to A squared plus B squared, then the value of 3 asterisk 4 asterisk 2. So what we can do first, let's throw a bracket in. So the first one, A is 3 and B is 4. So we can say this is 3 squared plus B is 4. So we can say 4 squared. This is square. Now, that would represent this part. Now, this asterisk 2, if we should look at this as A and this as B, so all of this would be A, and now we can have plus to the right now 2 asterisk, sorry, not 2 asterisk, 2 raised to the second power. Right, so if you look at it, we're not working out the answer, we're just trying to write it similar to what we see as the answer. So this one would be my answer. You have to be extremely careful. This is totally different, right? This is saying the sum of all the numbers square, and this is saying the individual numbers we square them, right? And I can tell you, once you work at least 5 papers, you should see back maybe 30 of those questions, or in some cases, maybe more. Now it says if the determinant of A, so these two lines, yes, if the determinant of A is equal to 0, then A is a singular matrix. So a singular matrix is one that has a determinant of 0. Right? Inverse matrix, we should know what that is. 1 over the determinant times the adjoint. An identity matrix is that 1, 0, 0, 1, where you have the ones in the leading diagonal. And D, a non-singular matrix, it would be 1, where the denominator, sorry, not the denominator, the determinant is not equal to 0. For example, if you have another number, a different number right here, let's say 2, -1, 6, whatever the case may be, it would be a non-singular. But once it is equal to 0, we say that it's a singular matrix. Question 28. Let's look at matrices. Oh, yeah, so it says if A, so this is a matrix, and the order of a matrix means the number of rows. So this has 1, 2, 3 rows. So you first write the number of rows by that sign, multiplication sign. The number of columns should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this matrix is a 3 by 4 matrix. So if you look at part D, it says 4 by 3. So 4 by 3 is wrong. You have to write them in the right order. So you must always put the number of rows first. So rows first and then columns after. So it's row major order. Right. So let's see if we can jump to the next question. So this part seems to be vectors and matrices. Let me see if I can get this to show a little bit better. All right, so question 29. All right, so it says if the vector P and Q are 3, 2, and -1, 4, respectively, so it means P is the first one and Q is the second one, then negative P, so we're gonna write negative matrix P, which is 3, 2, so you have to write it in the same order, negative 3, 2, minus 2Q, so write 2 times matrix Q. And matrix Q is -1 and 4. So I'm going to do some calculations right here. Oh, that's not, I don't know what is that. So let me just go through that. So let's go. So this right here, This negative one is basically multiplying by the bracket. So these two terms must turn to negative. So negative times 3 is negative 3. And negative times 2 is negative 2. Right? Now, we can do this many ways. I'm going to put back this minus sign right here and multiply by the 2 only. I know you could multiply by the negative 2, but you have to change this to plus. But let's do it to keep it simple. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2. And 2 times 4 is 8. So now we're going to be subtracting to get our final answer. So negative 3 minus negative 2 is the same as saying negative 3 plus 2. So negative 3 means you owe 3, plus 2 you have 2. So in all you still owe 1. So negative 3 plus 2 is 1. And negative 2 you owe 2, minus 8 you owe 8, in all you owe 10. Negative 10. So our answer for this one is going to be D. So our answer is D for this one. And that's vectors. So we look at, we can add vectors as we can see, and we can do a little bit of scalar multiplication. All right, so that's question number 29. Question number 30 is also vectors. A little bit of algebra vectors. Let's see what it says. And these questions, you have to read them carefully. It says, let me get to this. Item 30 refers to the following diagram of triangle OLM, in which R is the midpoint of OL. So it means R is going to fall exactly in the middle of OL. It says further, vector OR is equal to 3A minus 2B. So let me just put in that. Type it. So this is 3A minus 2B. 3A minus 2B. That's vector OR. So we can add some more information. If vector OR is 3A minus 2B, then RL is the same thing because R falls in the middle. So this is also 3A minus 2B. So we just add in the information. So from O to R is 3A minus 2B, and R to L is 3A minus 2B. It says, and OM from O to M is 2A, A plus 3B. Question is now asking to find LM, vector LM. So that's from L to M. So if we want to find vector LM, we have to go from L to O and O to M. Now remember, if you're going to go in the opposite direction, you'll have to change the sign. So if you're going from O to R, this would be 3A minus 2B, but R to O, this becomes negative 3A and this becomes plus 2B. So once you're going in the opposite direction of the vector, the sign will change. So what we'll have right here from L to O would actually be, so let me start from L to R. So this will be negative 3A because we're going in the other direction, negative 3A. And this minus 2B will become plus 2B. And we continue from R to O, because if we want to move from L to M, we have to go from L all the way to O and then all the way to M. So we keep adding. So that's LR plus, now we're going to move from R to O, opposite direction again, so we change the sign. So this is negative 3A, right, plus 2B. So we're basically from L to O. So we're just changing the sign, right? What we could have find is from O to L first, and then we change the sign. All right, well, let's just do it step by step. So we're at O now, so we need to go from O to M, which is 2A plus 3B. So we're not changing any sign there, plus 3B. And we're going to group the like terms. So negative 3A minus 3A, or this should have been a plus right here. So let's just group them. So negative 3A, then minus 3A, then plus 2A. So we'll group all the A's, then we'll group in the B's now, plus 2B, plus 2B, plus 3b. Let's see what that will give us now. Your O3 and your O3 in all your O6, then plus 2. So negative 6 plus 2, negative 6a plus 2a gives you minus 4a. And then 2 plus 2, that's 4, plus 3, that's 7, plus 7b. So let's write the positive number first. 7b is positive, and 4a is sub minus, all right, minus 4a. So if we compare our answer, we'll see that B is our answer, 7B minus 4A. So again, once you're finding vector, LM, you have to go a different route. So LO plus OM. And once you're going in the opposite direction, so these, you're going in the opposite direction, so you change the sign. And these, O to M, you're going in the correct direction, the right direction, so you don't change any sign. And that would be the answer for that one. So that is basically 30 marks so far on the paper. And don't think we reached 1 hour yet, so we're going on fine. If we weren't doing the explanation, of course, we'd finish the paper a long time, but I have to take my time so you guys fully understand. Question 31, it says item 31 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cylinder with diameter 6 centimeters and height 20 centimeters. The volume of the cylinder in centimeter cube and in terms of pi is. Now, the first thing, how do you find volume of a cylinder? That's the first thing. So the volume of a cylinder is pi r square. That's the area of the cross section or the circle of the cylinder multiplied by the height of the cylinder. So it's pi r square times h. All right, this is a very ugly h, but as long as you know it's a h. Good. So let's go. Now it says in terms of pi, which means pi is going to be in your answer. So I'm going to write back pi. There's no working out for pi. Once you see in terms of pi, you're going to leave pi. Times, now the radius of the circle, so the diameter is 6. As you can see, the entire diameter is 6. And we know diameter is 2 times the radius. So the radius is half of this 6, which is 3. So the radius is going to be squared. 3 squared is 9. So this should be times 9 times the height. And the height is 20. So 9 times 20 is 180 times pi is 180 pi. So it says in terms of pi, so 180 pi. So we don't need to write the pi. We're going to look at the answer that has 180. So that one is going to be C. Right? I know I think this question came on a paper before, but in that paper, I think they had the pi on it, but it doesn't really matter. All right, let's go to question 31. So we should be getting to closer and closer to some statistics, some functions, coordinate geometry, and so on. But before we do that, let's see what is happening right here. See if we can get all of this question on the screen. All right, so it says item 32 refers to the following diagram, which shows a circle with center O, with center at O, and with a sector and the major and minor arcs indicated. So the major arc is this one around here, the dotted lines, the dotted part of the circle. And this, so the solid part of the circle is a minor arc. Now it says, if the area of the minor sector, which is this one, is 103 centimeters square. So this right here, the minor one is the smaller one is 103. Then the area of the circle, the entire circle that is, all right. So we know, let's see what we can get from this. If this is 60, we know angles in a circle is 360. So what I can do, I'm going to divide this. Let's go. I'm going to divide this circle. All right, so this is not perfect, but this is 60 as well, and this is 60 as well. And if we should do the same thing down here, 60 and 60. Because if you add up this 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is 36. So 6 times 60 is 360 degrees. So you can have 6 sectors with angle 60 degrees in it. So it means, therefore, If the first sector given is 103, then all the others equal to 103 each. So we can multiply 6 by 103 to get the area of the total circle. So 6 times 103, so 6 times 100 is 600, and 6 times 3 is 18. So 600 plus 18 is 618. So the answer for 32 is D. Bear in mind that there are other ways to do these questions. You might see another teacher working the question totally different way. Doesn't matter. The aim is for you to get the question correct and move on in your life. If it took a speedboat 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080 kilometers, what was its average speed in kilometers per hour? All right, so let me just draw our little magic triangle and put in our speed, distance, and time formula. All right, so the first thing is that distance is going to be at the top, and we can put our average speed. Let's write speed for now, and time. So let me explain to you how this works. You can use this triangle to remember the formula to find the average speed, the distance, and the time. So let's go. It says speed is equal to distance traveled over time taken. So as you can see, the D is above the T. So you can say speed is distance over time, and time is distance over speed. But if you want to find distance, it is speed multiplied by time because it is beside it. So we normally call this the magic triangle. You can use it to remember the formula. It says if the speedboat took 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080, what is the average speed? So the average speed is distance over time. So we're going to divide the distance by the time. So let's just do our division. So I'm going to write 1,008 right here, because that is what we're going to be dividing by the 9. Or dividing it, yes, dividing by the 9. All right, so I'll just write 9 right here. Good. So that's what we're doing right here. We're dividing the distance by the time, we're dividing the distance by the time, which is the 1,080 by the 9 hours. So 9 can go into 1, no, but 9 can go into 10, 1 time, remainder 1. So let's put the 1 beside this right here and focus on these two digits now, 1 and 8, which is 18. 9 to 18 is 2, and 9 can go into 0, now 0 time. So it means, and there's no remainder, so it means my average speed is going to be 120 kilometers per hour. And you can use this magic triangle to remember it. In the exam coming up, we don't know if they're going to ask you to find distance, which means you have to multiply speed by the time, or they might ask you to find the time, which is distance over speed. So know that magic triangle, and you'll be fine. All right, so let's go to question 34. It says the length of the sides of a triangle. Let me just sketch this triangle. Are x, that's one side, 2x, and 2x. So this seems to be an isosceles triangle with 2 equal sides. So let me just sketch this first. It says if the perimeter is 20 centimeters, what is the value of x? So remember, perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So they are saying 2x plus 2x is 4x plus x is 5x. So the perimeter is 5x. They're saying if the perimeter is equal to 20, so the 5x, when you add up all the sides, you get 20, find the value of x. So we can divide both sides by 5. So it means your x value equal to 5 can go into 20 4 times. So the value of x is 4. So this side is 8, 2 4 is 8, and this side is 4. Right? Yep. Let's jump to question number 35. Question number 35. And when you work other papers, you're going to notice that you'll see back some of these questions. That is why we're saying work at least 5 past papers, please. Once you work 5 past papers, you should be fine. All right. Now it says 50 guests had 2 glasses of champagne each. So if 50 guests has 2 glasses of champagne each, it means the total number of glasses we'll have is 100, because we all know each guest will have 2. So in all, we are going to have 100 glasses. All right. It says each glass held 150 milliliters. So if after, well, you have 100 glasses and each is going to hold 150 milliliter, we can find the total number of milliliter by multiplying by 150. Yes. So let's multiply 100 by 150. So if I multiply this 150 by 100, I can just add 2 zeros on the 150. So it means I'm going to get 150 with 2 more zeros, which takes me to 15,000. So that is in milliliters. But the question is saying, how many liters of champagne were used? Now, one thing we should note is that 1 liter, and I just write L, equal to 1,000 milliliter. That's something that we should note. So if you have if you have 15,000 milliliter, we can divide this by 1,000 to get the number of, or the amount of liters. So we divide this by 1,000, 1,000. All right. And we cancel some zeros, that cancel, and this cancel. So we're left with 1 into 15 is 15. So it means there are 15 liters of champagne that were used, right? All right. Let's clear the screen. And we're going to question 36. A square has the same perimeter as a rectangle. So we have to read these questions carefully. It says a square. Let me see if I can, let me just sketch it. So let me just sketch 2 of them. So this is my, this should be a square, and this is my rectangle. So a square has the same perimeter as a rectangle with 15. So the rectangle dimensions 15 and 11. Hopefully we can see that. So this is also 15 and this is 11. Because this is a rectangle, so the opposite sides are equal and parallel. So it means the perimeter of the rectangle is 15 plus 15 is 30. 11 plus 11 is 22. So 30 plus 22 is 52. So it means the perimeter of the square should be the same, 52, the distance around. So what we're saying is that, what will each side be? That's the question we're asking. So we can divide this by 4. 4 can go into 5, 1 time, remainder 1, and 4 into 12 is 3 times. So it means this side will be 13, this side will be 13, and all the other sides will be 13. It says, what is the area of the square? And to find area of square, you multiply length times length, which is 13 times 13, which is 169. And now we're going to jump to the next question. Question 37. Okay. It says the circumference of a circle is 154. Let me just get up this. Good. So the circumference of a circle is 154 centimeter. Given that pi is equal to 22/7, the radius of the circle is. All right, so first thing, to find circumference, we know it is 2 pi r. 2 pi r. That's how you find circumference of a circle. And the question is saying the circumference is 154. So we can say 154 equal to 2 multiplied by pi. And we know pi is, the question gave us as 22/7. So 2 multiplied by 22/7 multiplied by the radius times r. All right, so what we can do right here is that we can say 154 is equal to, so let's go. So 2 times 22, that's 44, times r is 44r. Over 7. All right, good. So now, what we can do, and there are other ways of doing this question, we can multiply 44r by 1, we just cross multiplying, which will give us 44r equal, so you just multiply 154 by 7, and you get 1078. So of course, I showed you how to do these things, to multiply these things, and you should know to multiply these things. Then you divide both sides by 44. Now, when you're dividing this by 44, what will happen is that the 44 will cancel the 44, so the radius. Now, in the interest of time, I'll just tell you what to do. You can just, so you can divide by 2. Seeing that these are 2 even numbers, you can divide by 2 until you come down to your answer. All right, I figure my answer is going to be 24.5 when you get that. All right, so you can check that and see what you get. All right, and we're moving along. In the interest of time, I've been on this for a little while now. Right. All right, so we're going to question 38. So this is really scale drawing. It says the distance around the lake is 8 kilometers. So I'm going to type this. Right? It says the distance around the lake is represented by a length of 2 centimeters. So 2 centimeters is representing 8 kilometers. So the distance around a lake is 8 kilometers. So that's the actual distance. On a map, the distance around the lake is represented by 2 centimeters. So the 2 centimeters is what is on the map, and this is what it is representing. Right? It says the scale on the map is, all right, so what we can do, we can change this 8 kilometers to centimeters. And a unit that we can use is that 100,000 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. So 8 kilometers is going to be 800,000 centimeters. But if you look at our answers right here, all of them start with 1. So we can find half of 2, which is 1. So we'll have to find half of 800,000, which is 400,000. So my answer for this one is going to be D for my answer. Let's see if I can get this up. So it's going to be D for my answer. So you just divide both sides by 2. All right, dividing this by 2 and this by 2. So you get 2 into 2 is 1 centimeter, and 2 into 8 is 4, so 400,000. Right, and that's scale drawing for you. So that's 38, 39. So 39 and 40 should be very simple. All right, so it says the mode of the number of books bought. So the number of books are in the first row, and the number of students in the second row. So the mode is the one with the highest frequency. So the highest frequency is 3. Sorry, not 3, 13. So it means the mode is going to be 5. So 13 students, right? 13 students bought 5 books. 11 students bought 6 books. So this 5 books is the one that has the highest frequency. So the mode is 5, not the 13. The 13 is just giving me the highest frequency. And the median number of books. So, okay. So median now, we can find it by finding n, which is the total frequency over 2. You hear some people say n plus 1 over 2. Now, n is the total frequency. So if you add up all these numbers, let's add up the total frequency. 9 plus 9. Let me just write them out. All right, let's go. 9 plus 9 plus 13 plus 11 plus 9 plus 7. So let's add up all of these and see what we get. So 9 plus 9, that's 18. 18 plus 13, that's 31. So 18 plus 10, 28 plus 3, 31. Plus 11, 42. Plus 9, 51. Plus 7, 58. So the 58 over 2 position is where we're going to find the median. So 2 can go into 58. That's 2 into 50, that's 25. And 2 into 8, that's 4 times. So 25 plus 4, that's 29. So it means the median is going to be at the 29th position. So we can add to see where 29 will fall. So 9 plus 9 is 18. Still not at 29. Plus 13, that is going to take us past 29. So it means the median is going to fall right here. It's going to be 5, right? So 9 plus 9 is 18 plus 13. What did we get for that again? We got 30 something. If when we add n and divide by 2, we got 40 something, then it wouldn't fall right here. It would fall in this one because when we reach right here, I think we get to 40 something or maybe 50 something, whatever the case may be. So the answer in this case is going to be 5 for the median. Right? Right, so let's erase and get to the next one. All right, so question number 41, this is statistics. It says, item 41 refers to the following pie chart, which shows the popular games played by a group of students. 30% played basketball, 36% played tennis. This is an angle of 90 degrees. And 90 degrees is basically a quarter, right? It says if 180, let me write this down and make a note of this. If 180 students played football, 180. Remember, this is quarter. How many students are in the group? So if quarter is 80, then half is going, sorry, if quarter is 180, then half is going to be 180 plus 180, which is 360. So if half is 360, then the total, you multiply that 360 by 2, and you get 720. So the answer is 720. Question 42, it says, item 42 refers to the following chart, which shows the amount of fish bought in kilogram by the first 60 customers at a fish market. So we have our number of fish bought in kilogram, a number of kilogram of fish, and this is the number of customers. How many customers bought at least 6 kilogram of fish? So at least means we're going to include the 6. So if you look at this 6 kilogram, this is 11. So this falls between 10 and 12. So 11, we got 11 so far. This 7 is also at least 6. At least 6 means 6 or more. So we're checking from 6 to right up. So this right here is between 4 and 6. So this is 5. And we jump to this one, which is 4. Then we jump to this one, which is between 6 and 8. So that's 7. And then the final one is between 2 and 4. So that's 3. So we can add this up. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 4, 14, plus 5, 19, plus 11, 30. So it means 30 customers is going to be my answer. Right, we're getting there. So question 43. All right. So question 43, it's item 43 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cumulative frequency curve of the heights of 20 plants. Now the interquartile range, is going to be the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So let me just show you. So this is quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4, Q4. 4 quarters give you the whole. So this right here is Q2. So when you're finding median from frequency curve, you go right here and you come down and read off this value, but that's not what they're asking us for. What they're asking us for is this interquartile range. So the upper quartile is going to be the top quarter. So I'm going to go up and read off this value at 15 and come down and get this number. Whatever this number is going to be the upper quarter. So we can call this Q3. Let me just put a mark here for that. And then Q1, go across. Now this one is in the middle, so I have to be careful in the middle. So I'm going to read off this number, but let's go. Let's see what is happening right here. So if you look closely, each small box is going up by 0.4. So if this is 4, this is 4.4, 4.8, 5.2, 5.6, and then 6. So it's going up by 0.4. So if it's going up by 0.4, then the upper quartile is going to be 4.4, 4.8, 5.2. So it's 5.2 minus, that's the upper quartile, minus the lower quartile, which is 2, 2.4. The next box would be 2.8. So this is going to be 2.6 because it's in the middle. Hopefully you are seeing that, 2.6. Let me erase that so you can see it clearly. So this is 2.6. It comes down in the middle, 2.6. And when you subtract 2.6 from 5.2, you get 2.6 for your answer. So the answer for this one is actually 2.6, which is B. Right. Going ahead. Now, item 44 refers to the following table, which shows the result of a survey of 100 persons from 2 major ethnic groups. So the total number of people, 100. So the 2 groups are P and R. Respondents were interviewed about their attitude towards mathematics. Wow. So let's just see what the table is saying. So for ethnic group P, 25 had a positive attitude, 11 had a neutral attitude, and 24 had a negative attitude. So you have more with positive attitude. But R now, 12 had a positive attitude, 9 had a neutral attitude, and 19 had a negative attitude, which is total 40. It says a respondent from the ethnic group P is selected at random. So they are going to select from this group at random right here. So we're going to focus on this group. So it's not the total they are selecting from, which is 100. They are selecting just from this group. So it means, therefore, if they want to find probability, it's going to be over the total. An ethnic group, the total for the ethnic group is 60. So we're looking for something over 60. It says a respondent from ethnic group P is selected at random. What is the probability that he has a negative attitude towards mathematics? So negative would be 24. So it's 24 over 60. Now, if you look at your answers, we are not seeing 24 over 60. So what you want to do is you want to reduce this. So let's take our time. So I'm going to go by 2. So 2 can go into 24, that's 12 times. And 2 can go into 60, that's 30 times. I double check my answer again. I'm still not seeing that. So I'll go again by 2. Can go into 12 6 times. And 2 can go into 30, that's 15 times. So I'm still not seeing any 6 over 15. So let's go one more. 3 can go into 6 2 times. And 3 can go into 15 5 times, which is 2 over 5. So I'm now seeing 2 over 5 as my answer. So my answer is 2 over 5. This one. Right, so let me see if I can clear these. I'm trying to go a little bit faster. And I could go faster because you guys can actually pause the video if you want. So I could actually go a little bit faster, but I have to try and do the explanation. Now, this is coordinate geometry. It says the point where a line, or sorry, the point where a linear function crosses the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis, is called what? So once you cross the horizontal axis, those are called the x-intercepts. If you cross the y-axis, those are called the y-intercept. So the horizontal axis is the x-axis. So the point where a line crosses the horizontal axis, say, for example, that line, this point is called the x-intercept. All right, the x-intercept. So it means the answer is going to be B for this one. This answer is B, x-intercept. So we're at 45, just 15 questions to go. So let's see if we can get them done quickly. All right, so item 46. So this talks about mapping diagram. So we're moving from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So 1 to 1, 1 to, oh, so this is a many to one. Because if you note right here, even though you have the, let me see if you have any 1 to 1. I'm not seeing any 1 to 1, but you have more than one. So this one and this one, they're actually going to the same one. So more than one is considered as many. And it's the same thing for this one and this one going over there, and this one going over here. So it's a many to one mapping. Right, let's see if we can get to question 47. If h of x is equal to 3x minus 2 over 5, what is h of negative 6? So you're just going to substitute the negative 6 wherever you see x. So it's 3 times negative 6 minus 2 over the 5. So 3 times negative 6 is negative 18, and negative 18 minus 2 is negative 20 over 5. I left off the 5 right here, over 5. 5 can go into negative 20, negative 4 times. So my answer for that one is negative 4. Right? Right, so let me erase. So question 48. I think we need to scroll up so we can see. Oh yes, there's a chart, there's a graph. Now it says, so it refers to the following graph function. The maximum point, okay, so the maximum point, it will be that turning point, this highest point right here. We can see it. So that point going to right here. So this point right here, the x coordinate is 2 and the y coordinate is 4. So it's 2, 4. Not 4, 2, but 2, 4. That's the maximum point. When they ask for maximum or minimum point, you're looking for that turning point of the graph. All right, so this also refers to the previous diagram. It says the values of x at which it points where y equal to 4x minus x squared intersects y equals 0. So just to scroll up back. So y is 4, y is 2, y is 0 right here. So the two x values where the graph is crossing the x-axis, that's what they're asking for. It's crossing at 0 and 4. So let's see which one is that, 0 and 4. 0 and 4, that's A. So our answer for this one is going to be A. This one, A. Which of the following equation represents a straight line? So this is not a straight line, xy. Once you have x multiplied by y, it's not a straight line. Once you see the x square, it's not a straight line. So this is the only one that doesn't have any x square and doesn't have the x multiplied by y. So that would be the equation of a straight line, which is the general form is y equal mx plus c, which this can be transposed or rearranged to get. So that's 50. Oh, so I have 10 more questions to go. It says, which of the following sets is represented by the function? Let me just, so the function x squared plus 3, where x is really 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let's check that. So if we should substitute these values, when we substitute 0, let me see what we get. So 0. Let's substitute 0. 0 squared 0 plus 3 gives us 3. So when I substitute 0, you get 3. Next one. When I substitute 1, that's a comma, I'll get 1 squares 1 plus 3, 4. And when I substitute 2, I'll get 2 squares 4 plus 3, 7. Probably see which one is the answer already. And when I substitute the last one, 3, I get 3 squares 9 plus 3, 12. So look and see which one is this. I think it's, let me see, look, it's this one. Good. All right. So we get in there. All right, so question 52. All right, so one thing we should note is that the equation of a straight line is always, it is y equal mx plus c. And when you have the equation in this form, it means whatever is beside the x is going to be your gradient. So it says a line L is parallel to the line 2x minus 5y minus 8 equals 0. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and write this in this form first. So I'm going to write the negative 5y first because I want to have the y on one side. So let me write the negative 5y. I think I can type that. Let me just erase this and type it. So negative 5y equal to, so I don't want to have anything but y on the left-hand side. Now this positive 2x, I'm going to put it over the equal sign because everything is over the left-hand side. So I want to put it over the right-hand side. So when you bring the 2x, it becomes minus 2x. And when you bring the minus 8, it becomes plus 8. Good. So now we want to get rid of this minus 5. So we're going to divide both sides by minus 5 to want it to look like what we have above, which is y equal mx plus c. So we're dividing everything by minus 5. So what you're left with, this will cancel. So you're left with the y now equal, now a negative 2 divided by a negative 5 is a positive 2 over 5. So negative divided by a negative is positive 5x. And positive divided by negative is negative, so you get minus 8 over 5. But we don't care about this part. It says a line L is parallel to this line. So the 2x minus 5y minus 8 equals 0 is now the same as saying y equal 2 over 5x minus 8 over 5. So the line they're actually talking about, the gradient is 2 over 5. So this line, the gradient is 2 over 5. So we have to put it in the form y equal mx plus c first before we can actually see the gradient. It says, what is the gradient of the line L? So if L is parallel to this line, two lines are parallel if they have the same gradient. So 2 over 5 is going to be the same for the other line. So L, the gradient of L is going to be 2 over 5. If it was perpendicular, you would flip the fraction and change the sign. So it will be negative of 5 over 2. But it says parallel, so you have to be careful. All right, so moving to our next question. We're almost there. We're going to question 53, which can be found below. 53. Well, 53 is circle theorem. This was the first theorem I gave my students. The angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference. So you have two radii, OA and OB, forming an angle at the center. And then both ends of the radii going to the circumference to form this 50 degrees. The one at the center is always twice the one at the circumference. So if this is 50, this one is twice 50, which is 100. So 53 is D. Jump to 54. See, I think 54 is above. Good. All right, so these are two parallel lines, as we can see with our arrows. It says in the diagram, PQ and RS are parallel, which of the following best describes the relationship between X and Y? Now, if you look at this line is parallel to this one, which forms our Z, right? So it means these are alternate angles, or if you want to call them Z angles. So alternate angles are equal. So X is equal to Y. All right, so the battery on my laptop should be going. It seems like it's going. So let me see if I can just put in the answers for the others. Don't have my charger close by. Just put in the answer for you guys to get it. All right. In the interest of time, the battery is going fast, fast, fast. All right, so this one right here, if you should scroll through this question, this is a reflection in the y-axis followed by an enlargement. So the answer is B for question number 55. 56. So of course you go to the question. It seems to be a reflection in the x-axis as D. The question talks about a reflection in the x-axis. And 57, the answer is going to be, let me just clear this. 180 minus 3x, it's A. And 58. Let me just give you this quickly. Once you see anything that has to do with angle of elevation or depression, 90% of the time it's going to be anything that has tan. So I'll just tell you from now that 58 is 12 tan 35, which is D. In the interest of time, the battery is going. Sine X is opposite over hypotenuse, so 59 is A. And the last one, 60, under the translation that the image of that is, so -2 plus -5 is -7, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So the answer is C. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps. That's 60 questions for you. Right.